What's going on, everybody? Today we got a new Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 151. This chapter was pretty good, if I had to say so myself. If it's what I would call it, more so a delivery chapter, or more so part of a delivery chapter, because I think next chapter is going to be the end of this arc with the Zenin, Clan, and Maki, and all them. But let's go ahead and get more into chapter 151 of Jujutsu Kaisen. This chapter is primarily Maki versus Naoya, which is what I wanted, but before we got to that, we had a very quick flashback of Naoya when he was a child, and basically the Zenin family has been telling him, you know, you're gonna be a genius, and you'll be the next head of the Zenin clan one day, and that there was also a failure in the clan who didn't have cursed energy, to which he kind of thought, I wonder how low would he think of himself. And upon his childish and cocky demeanor, he looks up and he sees the goat, big goat, Toji Fushiguro, which, by the way, this drawing of Toji in a more Japanese formal garb or robe looks great. I love the shadowing effect that's on the panel, which gives Toji almost like an aura type effect when he walks past Naoya. The look on Naoya's face when he saw Toji was like a mix of shock and fear almost, because he definitely didn't have that child look smile on his face when he walked past him. But back into the action, we get straight into the fight. The fight begins, and I gotta say, the usage of the rock landscape looks dope. I love when Gege changes up the scenery for his battles. We got some great choreography as usual, with Naoya using his projection technique, which I understand the technique, but explaining it is almost impossible at times for me. But there are videos on YouTube explaining it probably better than I could. But basically, the projection technique is the ability of which Naoya can divide each second into frames and trace a predetermined sequence of movements through it. And if he touches his opponent while the technique is activated, then they have to follow the predetermined movements. But Naoya is using his speed to his advantage, and Maki, not knowing his curse technique, puts her at a disadvantage as well. Using the frame of Maki and kicking through the rocks into Maki, sending her across the field, and then kicking her in midair into another pile of rocks was pretty dope to see. I like the transition we see of that. And in the midst of him attacking her, Maki is actually counting the frame numbers to predict his next movements of some sort. But Naoya is still on the offensive, grabbing her by the leg and swinging her around into multiple boulders and blocks of rocks, and gets a clean hit on Maki, making her bleed. And one thing I found interesting about Naoya during this sequence is his thoughts of Maki becoming the next Toji and what he thought of Toji. He said that the sin of a small fry is not understanding what true strength is, and might be why no one really understood Toji except Gojo. And he even yells to Maki saying, "You're not him," which leads me to believe that Naoya actually respected Toji somewhat, because Toji had his own strengths. He wasn't really afraid of anybody, and he was actually stronger than the entire Zenin family. So when Naoya seen that, he probably realized that strength can come in different ways instead of traditionally with just a mass amount or a very strong curse technique. And we seen that with Yuta, because when he sensed him, he knew not to fight Yuta. He couldn't win that battle, but he still kept that smug and cocky attitude of his, which I think inevitably will be the death of him and the downfall of his life as a sorcerer. Back to the action, Maki thinks this isn't good. She finds a way to counter Naoya's speed and projection, and it's simply by letting him use maximum speed. She gets in this stance called the Shirinai style, which is similar to a sumo style where you spread your legs and arms parallel to one another. Naoya thinks Maki wants a head-on. Naoya thinks Maki wants a head-on fight. Maki says, "Come in for a hug." And Naoya slaps Maki's arm, which then means she has to abide by the 24 frames per second rule when moving. If not, the opponent will freeze for 1 second. So Naoya is about to attack her while she's frozen per se, and before he finishes saying "you are a fake," Maki turns and catches him with a nice, mean, vicious left punch to Naoya's face and says, "Sorry, can you repeat that?" And I like how it's described how Maki countered this, and I gotta say her adaptability in this fight was pretty dope to see. And I love seeing characters when they're fighting, they adapt to the situation using more so strategy or skill rather than just powering up and getting stronger sometimes, but that's just me. But she countered this by calculating that Naoya and Nobito's speed and projection felt a bit off. And it's because they split into 24 every second. 24 frames when she means about 24. But with this body, I can finally see them clearly, indicating that yes, Maki has perfect heavily restriction, which is fire. I love the Maki progression in all these arcs with her where they actually show it, especially this one, of course, and the progression of her mentally and as a sorcerer. This is just an amazing arc for her. Definitely a top 5 character at this point for me, and probably the best female character in Shonen. One of them. I can't guarantee that, and I ain't read everything. But anyways, that punch that she delivered to him, where she punches him straight into the ground, he's bleeding out the mouth, and he has a mean fist print in the side of his head. She gave him that Luffy punch in the Celestial Dragon treatment. But I gotta say though, like I said in my last chapter review, I still think Naoya is escaping alive somehow. I don't know if this man is gonna be saved by someone or he has some sort of trick up his sleeve or whatever, but that boy is running away somehow. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And one thing I gotta say about Jujutsu Kaisen, going into the future, is the fact that we got this Zenin clan arc, and I love it so far. If the ending seems like it's gonna be cool, I gotta say, the fact that we haven't even gotten into the culling game so far, and it's still so much we gotta see, is just exciting as a fan to read, because I mean we haven't even gotten to the angel character, which Maki has to be there for that. We haven't gotten to the Joker type dude yet, because I think he's gonna play like a nice little subplot for someone who I don't really know. And of course, we ain't even got to my boy Hikari yet. We gotta get to the king, the future king, Hikari. We gotta get to that boy. So I'm looking forward to the culling game as well. I think this arc is shaping up to be a great one. I don't know if it's gonna be better than Shibuya, but I don't like to put that out there. I like to let things culminate and, you know, let them breathe. You know, let's let this art play out. You know, we gotta give it time. But so far, I think it's pretty fire. So with all that I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm currently in the process of trying to make more original JJK content, as well as more manga and anime that I'm watching or reading for the first time, and giving my thoughts and opinions on those series, some old, some new, because I haven't seen everything, and it'd be cool to have a little series of me kind of going over older series or newer series that I haven't experienced yet, and just giving them out to y'all in a video format. I have a Chainsaw Man and a Dan video coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. And with that, I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.